Hey, welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. So The Silent Sea is a Netflix original South Korean sci-fi thriller based upon a short story back in 2014 called The Sea of Tranquility that was written and directed by Choi Hang-yong, who is also the director of this series, and it stars some big name South Korean actors with Gong Yoo and also Bae Doona and many other people if you actually watch a lot of South Korean entertainment. So it really has a stacked cast. And so the general story is, in the future, Earth is rapidly running out of water. And water is now the most valuable resource and commodity. And it's also created this class system where people in the upper class have access to water and everybody below it is fighting for survival. But regardless of which class or whatever population that you're in, you're basically going to run out of water at some point, and obviously the whole human population is going to go extinct. So this is where we have our group of astronauts, scientists, and doctors who are now tasked with a very important classified mission to fly to the moon, to this abandoned space station, to retrieve some very important samples, which most of them have no idea what this is about, although there's some people who do. And so that's kind of like the general story. And then we have our whole sci-fi thriller mystery all rolled into one. And things that they discover, wow, it's going to be a really, really interesting wild ride throughout this whole 8-episode series. And so the first thing that I absolutely love about this series is the story. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, Choi Hang-yong was the original writer and director of the short film that actually inspired this series, and he directs this as well, although he obviously has some different script writers writing the entire series. So it is going to be more of an expanded version of a short film. But I gotta say, this story really caught me by surprise, because initially I kind of thought, okay, I know what's going to happen here. You know, they're going to go on a mission, they're going to try to look for some things, and maybe they'll run into some alien life forms, you know, so that's normally what it is. But in this case, it kind of heads that way, but then it heads to many different directions. And that's what I found so interesting about this story, because Choi Hang-yong made it to where it's very methodical in the way that it reveals the story to you. It's bit by bit. And at the same time, as each part of the story is expanded, it all connects together. And everything pretty much is explained by the end. But the whole journey from beginning to end, at least for me, it was just a very thrilling ride. You never really knew exactly where things were going to go. And then whenever things are revealed or there are surprising things that happen, it was actually serving the overall story. And that's one thing that I really appreciated about this series. And then the next thing that this series has going for it is the production quality. You could tell there was a lot of money put into this, because whenever I'm watching this, I kind of feel like I'm watching a movie. And because it has big name South Korean stars like Gong Yoo and Bae Doona, it really helped elevate that. And this is really surprising to me, because Choi Hang-yong is a first-time director of big movies. And so as far as I understand, this is the first big movies he's done, and he does an excellent job. And so when it comes to the best things about the production quality here, I would say it's the overall atmosphere and the effects. You know, doing space and doing it well is really difficult, but I really feel The Silent Sea does an excellent job. They put in the effects and they did it well where it makes sense. And then at the same time, the whole atmosphere, being lost in space, being out there, gravity and everything else. And I think they handled that exceptionally well throughout the series. And I kind of really got lost into it because everything was done so well and it was so detailed. And of course, this series has excellent acting. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, we have Gong Yoo and Bae Doona, but we also have many other popular Korean actors and actresses that are very well known in the whole Korean entertainment world, and they really bring their A game here. And the characters, the way they were written, they're very three-dimensional. There are layers into their characters, and they actually evolve over time. And as you learn about some of the characters, it makes them even more interesting. And it just really got me into this entire series. And because of the fact that the characters were written well, plus you have excellent actors, it just really made it believable. You cared about the actors in here, and you really wanted to know what's going to go on with each one of these individuals. Even the ones that didn't play a major role, you still felt emotions for them, and that's always a good thing when it comes to character development and the acting that comes with it. And so the final thing that I think the series does so well is a sense of tension. From the very first episode all the way to the last episode, there's always this sense of danger, tension, and stress. And so there's never a moment that you could just really breathe and feel like nothing's going to happen, because in this case, there's always something happening. There's always a problem. There's always something new. There's some mystery, something going on that always keeps you on edge. And you as an audience member feel like you're going through the same thing. And so when I was watching it, I was feeling that. I was feeling what the characters were feeling. And at the same time, once one episode stopped, I couldn't wait to go and see what's happening on the next episode and see how everything unfolds. And so this is really hard to do, to keep this whole sense of tension and stress and attention from the audience throughout this entire series. But the Silent Sea did an exceptional job of capturing and holding my attention throughout. For serious YouTubers, check out TubeBuddy, the premier tool news at geekoutdoors.com. Get more done today by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below. Now, getting to some of the potential negatives of this series, at least for me, I really couldn't find one that I would say really sticks out. But I would say if you are the type of person who is used to fast action, a story that moves really quick, monsters and aliens from a sci-fi series, then you're really not going to get this here. Even though there's some of those elements here, that's not really the focus of it. The focus of this entire series is to really tell a compelling story and at the same time take its time to tell the story. So it's a very, very slow burn, but it's one that, at least for me, just captured my attention throughout, and it made me curious to see more of this world. And the good thing is, the way in which the Silent Sea ended, it's pretty much a complete story. However, there's still some mystery and still some opportunities for the story and world to still continue. So maybe they will have a season 2, but at least for me, if they just ended it here in this season, I think it would still be awesome and just ends it perfectly for most people. And so those are my thoughts on the Silent Sea. I really think this is an excellent series overall. If you're the type of person who likes these type of more psychological, sci-fi, thriller type shows, then this is definitely going to be one of the best out there in 2021. So if you actually had any thoughts on this, be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And if you did want to see more of my Korean series or movie reviews, I do have an entire playlist. I'll leave that in the description area as well. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And if you're a creative geek like me and you want to get exclusive access to more content that I don't put out here publicly on my YouTube channel, then join my Gold Content Creators Group, where you're going to get content like this and more for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators Group.